Hey guys, I'm Paul Bridgewater. Welcome to SnapComms, where we bring you news in a snap. In the studio today, we have Miss Ivy George, and we're going to be talking about community resilience and how we can strive to be a more resilient community in the BVI. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
All right, Ms. George, so what is a resilient community and why should we strive to be a resilient community?
According to RAND Corporation, community resilience can be defined as a sustainable ability of a community to withstand, recover from adverse community stressors, especially disasters, and to learn from past disasters and public health events to strengthen future response and recovery effort. And this is done in order to improve a quick whole of community approach that is required for us to be able to enjoy life in a community in a good way. And by working together with the communities, what will happen is it will enable the community to move from a situation where you're working first in silo with I to we and then to us. And that is what you want in a community, to have a sort of inclusive approach where all people in the community count.
Okay. And who exactly is responsible for starting this community resilience project?
Well, this community resilience project is part of the psychosocial project that is part of the recovery loan project that we are now undergoing. And we have two parts. So we are looking at improving psychosocial competence in individuals, and we are looking at improving also the competence of community to be able to work together, and especially, as I mentioned, in an adverse effect, any kind of situation in a community that causes stress and disruption, that the community can work together and bounce back quicker.
So, speaking of these events, post Alma and Maria, we've had some communities that has been identified as the most vulnerable. Can you name some of these communities that the Ministry of Health and Social Development will be working with?
Well, I want to correct that. Not that they might be the most vulnerable, but in terms of our long-term effort in health is sort of building healthy communities so that community, in an effort to improve the quality of health and life for people in those communities. And so we have a long-term project to improve the health of the people in the BVI, and health in a broad sense, not just meaning preventing diseases. So we have selected 9 communities that we are working with. Communities, one, that we have worked in before, communities that have a tendency to work together or to take initiative on their own, and also we are working in community. If there's another community or a disaster effort in a community, well, we don't want to duplicate, so we try to select communities that did not have that happening at the time.
So then eventually all of them could come together and then help themselves after events.
Well, yes, and it's a pilot, so we are working in some communities, and then after we'll see how this work out, and then whether we'll be able to recommend this approach for other communities. And some people might say, well, you're in health, so why disaster? But the framework that we are using is a health in all approach framework to work in communities in terms of building long-term healthy communities. But we are just using we are using disaster because this is what happened at the time, and that is how we were able to get funding. But the roadmap will be able to be applied to other areas.
It's more widespread.
Yes.
So the ministry is probably on a mission to find partners in the form of community leaders. What would be the criteria for those persons who want to be a community leader on these projects?
Well, what we have done so far is number one, we are looking for people who are by the fact that they are working in community agents from a government point of view, we are looking for those leaders. We're looking for, this would be like principal, yes, the person who's in charge of the police station, the person who's in charge of the clinic. We have environmental health officers. You have social managers in some communities who are working as senior managers for seniors. And then you have some NGOs. So we are looking for the leaders of those agencies, or a senior person working in that particular area. Then there are informal, in every community there are leaders. There are people that people just turn to for different kind of help, and people who just extinguish themselves as the go-to people. So what we have also done in addition to those that I mentioned, then we have also talked to a number of people in communities and asked them, who are some of the informal leaders or leaders in your community, and many persons have, give us names, and sometimes when we ask more than one person, we get the same names, and so we have also approached those persons to tell them about the project and to invite them to be a part of this training.
So about that training, I'm sure you guys have a workshop scheduled sometime this month. So tell us a little bit more about that workshop and how that would train these people to be community leaders.
Okay, the workshop is going to be held in March the 25th through the 28th, and it's of 3.5 days. So it will be sort of an introduction, a sensitization through the whole concept of community resilience and how it might differ from emergency response or the traditional emergency disaster that normally happens. And then we're going to be following a particular workbook, and in that workbook it will tell them how to work with your community, and we are working also in the community. A lot of times when people look at community, they look at the negative, but we are saying no, we are working from your strength. Each community is unique, but there are things that are positive about that community. So we are working from your strength, and so it goes through how the role of the various agencies in a community, whether you're government, NGO, informal, who is taking the lead, how to set up a sort of a structure that you can work by, etc., and how also to engage the other people in the community. Everyone won't be able to come to the workshop, and so they will now, after the idea is that these people who are now trained will go back, you'll work together and group with other people, and then you're going to have an exercise where you prepare a sort of a plan, a disaster plan for that particular area. And 6 months from now, they will come back, they will present that plan, then we will look at it, make some recommendation, and etc., and see where we move from there.
So it sounds like you guys have it all thought out. So I hope that works out in that regard. So is there anything else that you would like to add before you go?
Well, I just want to encourage those persons who have received invitations from the Ministry of Health to take this opportunity to participate in this training. Also, we are working with two very good experts from RAND Corporation, and both of these persons have walked around the world doing similar kind of this similar kind of work, and they are working as close as Puerto Rico. After the storm, they're in Puerto Rico doing similar kind of work to what we will be doing here. So I would like for our people to take this advantage of this opportunity, because we did not, in health, we don't always have funding to do this type of community work. So we want to encourage, and if anyone who have received information you cannot attend, you might know someone else in your community who you think can benefit from this training that will be able to go back and help to work in the community. We encourage you to do that or to call us and let us know that you're not going to be able to come so that we can also try and find some other people to maybe take advantage of this training at this time.
All right. So thanks for stopping by.
Thank you for having me.
That's it for today, guys. I'm Paul Bitchwater signing off. Be sure to tune in for your daily feed of SnapComms, where we bring you news in a snap.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Twitter, and Facebook at BVI Government and Instagram at GIS BVI.